What's up, guys? After Bellator 198, Fedor versus Frank Mir, I could not wait to talk fights. So I got a hold of Cort Wahle from Shamrock FC out of St. Louis, Missouri. Great guy to talk to. We talk about his performance at Bellator 197. We talk about the fights in Rosemont just on Saturday. We talk about his background, where he came from, what's next, his favorite fighters, his favorite era, you name it. We talk about it. So without further ado, Cort Wahle. Cort, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, of course. So we talked earlier, just texting back and forth, and this kind of shocked me. You don't watch fights?
Not really. It's not so much that I don't like the fights. I actually love it. But, you know, I'm one of those guys that I get antsy. I sit around and I really want to fight. And it's like, hey, you're not in fight shape at the moment. Hey, you don't have a fight scheduled. And it's just, I don't know, man. I got ADHD. I'm not good at sitting down and even watching movies. So
I can't watch movies, but I can watch fights. But I definitely understand that as a fighter. If you're kind of sitting down watching fights and you're seeing these guys perform at a high level, you're like, shit, I need to be like these guys, you know? And so, or
if you see somebody at that high level and you're like, I could totally like beat this guy. Right. Why am I not there? Type situation. Then it's just a up and down waterfall of emotions. You know what it is.
Yeah. So when you do watch fights, do you watch Bellator? Do you watch UFC? Do you prefer to watch Shamrock? Any other local promotions? What do you like to watch? I
definitely don't mind them live. They're fun. Definitely. The energy is 100% different. There's times where certain fighters I'll watch. A lot of them are more old school fighters, but like GSP and Diaz, I don't mind, of course, watching McGregor fight because, you know, he controls the hype. I don't have a choice. Right. But, you know, it depends if something grabs my interest, you know, if there's somebody that I really like the style of. A lot of the lower weights, Cruz, I absolutely love watching Cruz fight because I move a lot like him when I spar and everything sort. But it really depends on who's fighting, not so much the promotion, you know?
So that kind of goes into actually my next question that I have. Your favorites, favorite fighters, favorite era?
Well, favorite fighters, I'd say it's split down the middle between GSP and Cruz at the moment. GSP just mainly for he's a respectful individual. I'm a very respectful, non-trash talking person. And he's just a genuine hard worker and a smart fighter. Cruz, I love the funky explosiveness, and this is a contradicting statement, but I love the way he handles the mic as well. You know, he always has. It's not so much like him trying to bash on somebody's mother or something like that. Right. He is literally calling the individual out, and that I enjoy very much.
He's witty, that's for sure. Like there's levels of trash talk. There's different tiers. Like you've got the Chael Sonnen, who is the very professional wrestler. You've got the Conor McGregor, who will call you, your family, and your kids out, and then you have the Dominic Cruz, who is just so witty, and the things that, like, when he says something about you, like, you kind of have to like sit back and think, and you see that a lot of time with guys. Which
he hits you with facts. Yes, that's the fun part.
Yes, yeah. All right. So, favorite era of fighting? Is it now? Was it the early days? Was it the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell?
It's got to be now. It just keeps getting more and more hype. New, everybody just keeps getting better in a way. They always have to come up with something new because everybody is getting better. You can't beat the top tier guy with old tier fighting. You know what I mean? So it's more and more excitement brewing.
The way I put it is, I don't know if you're a football fan, but the way I see it is, MMA is just getting out of the leather helmets if it were the NFL. It's just getting into that crossover to where now it's being recognized as a legitimate sport, to where it's kind of out of its infancy. So, yeah, I would actually say now, too. I mean, it was kind of cool to see Andrei Arlovsky and, guys like Tim Sylvia fighting every other weekend. It seemed like that was cool back in the day, but it's definitely way better now to see just a plethora of fighters and guys always having to change their game. Like Dominic.
I'd say there's benefits and sorry to cut you off there.
No,
I'd say there's definitely benefits and detriments to both. The old school, it was without trying to show disrespect, it was really just there were a lot of brawls. They would learn a lot of the basics, and it was the tough guys that would use the basics the best. And they would beat the snot out of each other. And nowadays you have either the really fun, exciting, just technical as can be individuals, or you have the wrestlers that lay and pray. So that's what upsets me, is how well wrestlers do nowadays, and they can win just by laying on an individual. But, you know, to each his own. I definitely have the respect for that. It's just, it's not my thing. Well, I want to have fun when I fight.
Don't you think that the new rules, though, if all states unify those rules, because I believe the new rules, if you take someone, the lay and pray, it, you know, obviously if you lay on someone for, you know, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you're going to win that round. But the new rules, if you take someone down and you don't do any damage, it shouldn't have as much of an effect on the judge's scorecard, correct?
Yeah.
And Missouri, have they adopted the new rules?
I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, I don't think so, because one of the fighters on the card complained about how it was the card that I fought in the main card. He was upset by the decision because the dude just apparently laid on him the whole time. But
it's frustrating, man. But what do you do? That's a sport, I guess.
That's what it is, you know. I mean, that's where it comes in. You have to learn really good jiu-jitsu. Yeah. That's where you have to adapt every aspect of your game. You know, you can't assume, oh, I'm just going to knock the individual out because my striking is better than everybody's. One takedown could shut that down immediately. So, and
one of my favorite fighters is Bisping. I think that's what's so appreciated about Bisping is he's got good takedown defense, but his ability to get back up is phenomenal. So to see a guy like that that doesn't really have to worry about that lay and pray style so much, because their ability to get back up is just, you know, next level.
Yeah, I definitely had my issues through my Miami career with wrestlers. It seems a lot of lower level fighters don't like to get hit. It's the first time I hit them, they go right to the ground. But, you know, they're scoring the points. But I'll tell you what, I never learned more about certain things until I'm beat by another. Like, I didn't learn my getting up until I was taken down a lot. I didn't learn good boxing until I got hit a lot. So that's the truth. Adapt and overcome, man.
So you said you don't really watch fights, but do you pick fights at all? I love to pick fights. Did you have any picks going into last night, Bellator 198, or do you just kind of watch the highlights and see it for
I watched
what
the
it is?
highlights. I assumed Fedor was going to take me out. Yeah.
Wow.
I assumed he'd catch him.
Did you think it would
age and everything.
First round KO?
I didn't really get down to the assumption. I did assume it'd be done in the first. Those two guys, they both like to put on the show, and they definitely didn't want to pull a Kimbo Slive Dada 5000 three round death march, you know. Yeah. So I didn't expect Mir to rock him immediately, though. That was quite instant, unexpected, but Fedor's got some of the best recovery ability in the game.
Well, and then also that hip toss that Fedor put on Frank Mir and put him on his back. I was watching, I was like, oh shit, what is happening right now? This is 2018. This is insane, you know. But that's cool, man. I mean,
shows you that the roots still work.
Yeah, that's right. So how did you get started? Because I'm actually from Southern Illinois. I lived there for about 8 years. And living in that region of Illinois, I know the MMA scene isn't huge. There's not a gym on every corner. You know, I moved up to Northern Illinois by Chicago to where it's more prevalent, right? But, you know, in Southern Illinois, what do? You baling hay for training? That's kind of that's kind of your thing, you know?
I had one gym here. We had a very large we had a good gym. It was at the War Room here in Wood River. I had a great coach, and it was one of those coaches that because he taught there, we had a lot of people make the commute to come train with us. So we had a good group, but then he ended up having his own life choices and life decisions that made him leave. And my gym shut down, so I got to drive a minimum of 45 minutes to get training. But it is what it is. I've got good jiu-jitsu school here. Definitely very technical with jiu-jitsu. It's my biggest issue is struggling to find people that can keep up with me with striking and MMA full on. So
you're young though. You're what? You're 23, 24?
23, yes, sir.
All right, so don't call me sir. It's weird. I'm only 20. I just turned 25. We're in the same age bracket, my man.
It has nothing to do with age.
I get it.
I call kids sir, man. I started. Very start was I was in Taekwondo from a young age, and I did all sorts of martial arts.
Right.
And it's very adamant to say sir and ma'am to everything.
Yep.
Or else, before everything got watered down, you would be punished.
Yes. So you got your start in Taekwondo. Where did it evolve? How did you go from Taekwondo as a kid to now a pro?
Well, with Taekwondo, didn't really click till puberty, I'd say.
How to get some of that aggression out of you?
Not so much aggression. It more goes back to the ADHD and my inability to focus on one thing at a time. That's why I love martial arts, because there's so many different things to focus on at once. You know, I'm a musical guy too.
Oh, me too.
I've always had guitars. I've always had pianos. I've always had instruments in my house, but I couldn't focus. I play drums because it's 4 different body parts going at once, you know?
Yeah.
But, anyways, back to the martial arts, you know, we did so many different martial arts. It started to really click, and I just started to have the passion for it, to have my own skill set. And I was dominating the Taekwondo scene, you know, as tough as you could sound saying that. I was dominating the Taekwondo scene.
Right.
But it became boring to me. You know, I was going to tournaments at national levels, and just at 14 walking through adults, you know, in Taekwondo, and I was looking for something new. And then there was an eye opener for me that was like, you really need to find this. And I went to the war room one night, and the owner of the war room, very good guy, Brad Jones, I went there, I threw a kick, I hit him as hard as I could, and he was told not to go easy on me. And he sent a 2 right down the middle and dropped me on my ass.
Nice.
I looked up, I was like, that was awesome. I got back up, threw another kick, got dropped again, and it was humbling. I was just like, this is awesome. This is what I want to do. And it just grew from there. I've never been bored. Training, I have so much fun every time. There's so much stuff to learn. It's at the point where I'm able to teach myself new things because I know how things link together, and it's just I've had a love for it ever since a young age.
So how long have you been competing amateur from the amateur days of MMA, and then when did you turn pro?
Well, my first amateur MMA fight was actually illegal. I was 17, but I knew the promoter, and he was like, you know what, it's totally cool. So I won the first fight there. And this is what really got me into it. You know, he made my nose explode. It was great. I had a piece of cartilage I had to find the spot for in my nose afterwards. But I finished an armbar. I had 4 to 6 months of training, I'd say. I finished a belly down armbar, which I had no idea how to do. I knew like the very basic armbar. And just the rush I had and the adaptation, it happened. I was like, all right, this will work if I do this. Don't let go, don't let go. Just the feeling of how hard I pushed myself and how much I put on the line and for the success, man, it was amazing. So I did that at 17. I tried to fight as much as I could. I had so many people backing out at amateur. That was the big issue around here when I started. People would just accept fights and back out. One of the issues was also I was given the nickname Delicious. And I think grown men, you know, seeing my record, how I finished people between 30 seconds and 2 minutes all the time, there's grown men that didn't want to lose to a 18-year-old named Delicious. Right. Which I can honestly
lose for them.
Yeah, they're just like, even if I win here, like, what do I get? Yeah, so I had that going for me. I'll give it to one guy, though. He didn't back out. He went to jail, so, you know, he's got a good excuse. But I did that forever, and then at 20, a few months before my 21st birthday, I was offered my first pro fight.
And that was with Shamrock, correct?
Yes, sir. All my fights, other than this last one, have been through Shamrock. Right. All my pro fights, I should say. And, you know, I was offered my first pro fight against a Bellator veteran. And I was like, I'm taking this opportunity, and I'm not going to give it up. So I had my first pro fight at 21, and it's been up and down since then, but we're back on a good track now. So
before we get into really the Bellator thing that we talked about earlier, talk about this nickname. I don't get it.
I don't know if there's a whole lot of getting it.
Did you name yourself Delicious?
No.
Some people have cool stories. Like what's the cool?
I was kind of like, I guess at the time, I maybe still am, kind of like the pretty boy. I don't look like a fighter. I don't get cauliflower ear, and I wear the short shorts when I fight. And it's just, I had a goofy group for the people I train with. My personality, I openly like to make people uncomfortable. For a while there, the fight scene questioned if I was homosexual or not. And as much as I denied it, my coach liked to tell everybody I was. So the nickname Delicious didn't help with that either.
So you just embrace it and say, nah, whatever. Just roll with it.
Honestly, I love it. I think it's hilarious.
No, it's a cool nickname. Like I had a,
and I can't do tough guy. There's no way I could be like the Dragon Slicer from hell.
If you have to have a cool guy nickname in MMA, you're probably not like a cool badass guy. Like you don't need something cool.
Yeah, and all honesty, like I said, I don't do this to be the tough guy. I genuinely love it. You know, any of my people that I train with, I like to train all over. I'm a very friendly individual. It's all about respect to me. And it's just, you know, you hit me with a good combo, I'm smiling the whole time. I'm having fun. And it's not a mind game for me. I'm not trying to get in your head. I'm legitimately enjoying our time together. So I couldn't tell you. It was just the group of people that know me, I hang out with, know I'm just goofy and open. And they're like, it just fits too perfectly.
It works.
It's pretty fun to put it. Sorry, one more story.
Yeah,
we put it on the bottom. We had these baseball tees that we made for one of my walkout shirts, and like Delicious was put at the bottom. So my coach, my old coach, he's about 6'6", well-known black belt, just stocky guy. Wore a jacket over the top of it, but the shirt hangs at the bottom and just says Delicious across his ass.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's just amazing because he wears the shirt all the time.
That's hilarious.
Like, I almost feel like this is on purpose, and I appreciate it more than you know.
So you said you wear the short shorts. Do you ever consider getting Delicious across your ass? Because I'm sure that would make the crowd go crazy.
You know, if I could fit it, I'd be down. I also, you know, I'm lacking the ass department, but there should be enough space there.
Well, you know, nothing will go better in front of a crowd, a bunch of guys that are watching other guys fight than Delicious across your ass.
Oh, it's great. I'm sure. I love to hear like the tough guys in the crowd talk shit on either the long hair or the short shorts or something like that. And it's a blast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I remember many amateur fights where I did spin back or spin hook to the head, knock the guy out after they were talking trash, and it's just hilarious to me.
That's fitting, though. That works. So you fight with Shamrock, and from what I understand, and you actually helped me understand this a little bit better, because I have heard Scott Coker talk about how they like to farm local talent for their shows.
Yes.
But the way that you just explained it to me, the way that they do it for their undercard is that they will basically farm out another professional organization to say, you put the card together, do your thing, and that will be our undercard. Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah, it seems that way. I know some sort of relation between Shamrock and Bellator, where
it goes way back too. It goes way back to Strikeforce too.
Yeah. When we the title holder in Shamrock, after they win the title and defend it once, I believe they get a Bellator contract. Something of that sort.
Okay.
They're tied in together in some sort of contractual way. I'm not 100% sure. I just know we get the undercard and we get the title into a contract situation.
So fighting in front of a Bellator crowd, obviously being in the likes of the Scott Cokers of the world, obviously Michael Chandler, one of the best 155ers in the world, headlining that card. Were you nervous? Were you?
I was a little nervous. Honestly, it was having the team that I had this time around. One of my biggest issues, I'd say my last 3 fights, is I haven't had a team, and my arrogance and ignorance has made me accept the fights that I did. But I got a good team now, people that are with me, and the personalities I had. I don't know if you saw an Instagram picture or anything like that. My corner, you know Kyle Watson. I'm sure you know the name.
Yes.
He was, I've been training at his gym a lot lately, but the 3 gentlemen in my corner all wore matching fanny packs. And like, I do very well when I'm relaxed and just happy and having a good time. I don't get the pumped up, tense, kick his ass type stuff.
Right.
It's not for me. Them being there and just being as relaxed, and also me not having to wait till 11 o'clock or midnight to fight was very beneficial. But I was a little nervous, but man, I was just excited and just ready to go. I was probably the most relaxed I've been since my first pro fight, in all honesty.
And you finished that fight via guillotine, correct?
Yeah, I got a 1-arm guillotine, actually.
Yeah, that's right. So that kind of brings up another point I meant to ask you earlier, and I apologize I missed on this one. talking about there's not being in the Midwest, there's really not a whole lot of opportunity out there, right? So, right. For example, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Damian Pretty Boy Norris. He fought in Bellator. He's a buddy of mine. He finally went out to Team Alpha Male because just there wasn't a whole lot to learn where he was at in Northern Illinois. At your level where you're at now, do you feel a need to get out, to travel, to train with other camps, other coaches? Not leave your camp, but...
We've discussed it before. We consider going up to Chicago, even just for like a 6-week camp or anything of the sort. Watson's really helped. There's a good group of guys there. Honestly, I'm comfortable now. If it keeps moving upwards, I definitely will need to get out and just get more bodies to work with.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been discussed. I'm still figuring out what's next in step because we have our own gym where I teach martial arts at, and I'm waiting to see where it goes. I want to take the right opportunities and not rush anything now.
So you're open to it. You're not completely denying it. You're not.
No, I would love it. I would love to do that. Like I said, I'm not a fighter. I'm a martial artist. Yeah. I just happen to fit into the fighter world. I absolutely love training with new people, learning new things, getting beat in new ways, and just fixing those holes in my game. I don't have a single bone of hate in my body towards people that beat me. It's one of the most fun things for me. So I would love to travel and train all over the world even.
Yeah, I just feel that's a reoccurring theme sometimes is, some fighters are just, it almost seems like they're too loyal. They'll win or they'll lose, 2, 3, 4 in a row. And it's like, maybe you should consider a change of scenery, but they're almost too loyal. So I'm not saying you're in that position, but obviously getting different looks is never a bad thing. That's the reason I asked that question.
No, and I absolutely understand that. And it's just, I wouldn't even see it as a thing of loyalty. It's not like these people are going out and giving away secrets. It's to better an individual. If your team doesn't want that for you, it's not really a team, in my opinion.
I agree with you. All right, man. So before I get you out of here, 2 more things. What's next for you?
Honestly, one of my biggest issues when I started was like, I want to fight, go. I'm waiting for the right opportunity. I'm going to put on some muscle weight because I'm not going back down to 35. I'm going to stay at 45. But I'm just going to wait and try to get the right opportunity to really progress my career as a fighter. It's not my go-to. I've got many things I want to do, and I'm not going to stress out over it and make one of my passions a career.
Fair enough. But for right now, still with Shamrock Fighting Championship, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. And then your social media, anything that your Instagram, Facebook, where people can follow you, your team, whatever. Go ahead and give it to us.
Facebook and Instagram are both Cort Wahle. It's nice and simple. It's my name. I have a Twitter. I don't use it. I can't keep up with. I can't keep up with it, man.
I don't like it.
I have to force myself to use Instagram.
I made a Twitter for the podcast, and I can't use it. I don't like it. The format's all weird.
Not for me.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on, especially short notice.
I appreciate it.
Keep me updated. You've got my number. Any new stuff that comes up in the world of Cort Wahle, let me know, and we'll get you back on this thing. And best of luck to you in whatever comes next for you, brother.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Enjoy.
Bye. Boom. So there it was, guys. Cort Wahle of Shamrock FC out of St. Louis, Missouri. Couldn't ask for a nicer guy. Can't wait to see what's next for him. Wish him the best luck. And until next time, guys, take care.